Hello, everybody. I'm Saria, and this is Fillie versus hephlex.
Yo, fuck you, show wizard. Alright, boys. Love you guys. Wish me luck. I'm gonna do this shit.
All right, and they're started. So, Area 1 is pretty much the same. I mean, you can lose a lot of time to having a bad suck-up, or also if you miss a double, but that doesn't usually happen too often at this level of play because they both are pretty good players and know what they're doing. So yeah.
Love you guys. Wish me luck.
And as you can see, Philly's a little bit ahead because he had better candles than hephlex. Not really much to say right now because it's really just the parlor. No doubles or anything. You just lose time to having, I guess, bad animations is where you lose most of your time, or not pressing the R button the first frame you can after stunning a ghost. But they're very, very close right now, which is what you like to see. So this is the first room with doubles, and this is like one of the first rooms that you usually can lose a lot of time on. You miss any doubles. Let's see if both the players get the doubles. Good singles here. They have to start pumping the ghosts because once they have more than 10 health, you have to start letting go and re-tapping back. And Fillie missing the first double, putting him behind immediately. That double can be pretty tricky sometimes. Let's see if he gets the second one. He gets the second one. Very nicely done by both players in that second double there. And so yeah, hephlex is a little bit ahead because of that double. It could really be anybody's game though. Especially with this poison mushroom, if he gets hit by that, that's like 10 seconds. And he narrowly avoided. That was crazy close. That was very, very scary. And ooh, that key is very, very tricky because if you go too early, then you'll miss it like that, and if you go too late, you'll lose a lot of time. So it's kind of pretty hard to find the perfect time to go. So coming up with Neville here, this is like the first ghost that you can lose a lot of time to suck ups because if you bump the control stick more than 10 times, you'll lose time or less. Usually you do more. Usually it's not that hard to get him pretty fast because his pull is very weak and his pattern's very predictable. There's bottom left and top left. Top left is a little bit faster because of the chest placement. But it's not too much faster. And hephlex still has a lead over Fillie by a few seconds here. And like about 3 seconds because Fillie missed that key there. And this is Lydia. There's 2 rooms loaded at once here, so the game will lag a little bit. It's one of the rooms in this game that lag. So they turn their flashlight off in order to prevent that from happening. And this suck up is pretty hard because of the lag. and the weird position. She can just sometimes go on top of you. It doesn't really happen too often, but when it does happen, it makes it really hard to get good damage on her. And hephlex spawning behind the chest there, losing him some time. And now we're coming up on the first boss, Chauncey. He is the only ghost that's not a boo that cannot be one-cycled with current knowledge. There's one boo that can't be, that you'll probably see both the runners get later on. So we can't one-cycle this guy quite yet. So they have to hit him with the ball here, and then they go into the arena, and there's a strat where if you drag Chauncey below 50 health, he'll do an extra attack on the third cycle, which loses about 3 seconds. So they're going to purposely keep him above 50 health in order to prevent that from happening. Anything lower than 50, so 49 or lower, and he'll do that. So they'll both try to let go of him at above 49 health, so 50 or more. Now he's going to throw some bouncy balls at you. One of them that he throws is one that you'll need to throw at him in order to stun him and then suck him up for damaging him. And you can actually do that without it even touching the ground if you catch it in midair, which you'll probably see both these runners do. It is a little bit faster than not doing it, but let's just see how it goes here with hephlex and then Fillie. Hephlex getting it. Oh, he missed. That loses about 20 seconds-ish. It loses a lot of time. So now he's pretty far behind Fillie. He just shot it a little bit early there. So yeah, now Fillie dragging him actually below 50, which we'll lose in like a few seconds. So both these players having some mistakes on Chauncey. Not too far apart, but for this early on, it's pretty noticeable. So yeah, a 606 Chauncey key, which for dragging him below 50 and missing a double, that's not the worst. Hephlex messing up that ball catch right there. Players out of Area 1 onto the first Portrification-izer cutscene. There are 4 of these in the game. But only 3 of them you actually see in the run, because there's one that you get after you beat the game. So it's really just... This is a pretty good song, though. I like the song a lot. This game has some pretty good songs. So yeah, Phillie's ahead by about, I think, a little over 10 seconds here. I'd have to look at their times. I think it's more than that, but I'm not sure. Fillie has a good lead, though, so he's going to try to keep that as long as he can. Going through the left door because it's a little bit faster than the right door. Okay, so Phillie's lead is about 20 seconds. So, not enough to put hephlex out of the race, but definitely enough to put Fillie comfortably ahead. And here he's going to shake off these ghosts because if you use the control stick and the C stick with each other, you can actually control where those ghosts go. And you can use that to your advantage to basically throw them into the other ghosts and get an easy double like that. And now Fillie is coming up here on Shy Guys. Nice double by hephlex there. These are some of the hardest doubles in the game. There's 3 back-to-back-to-back doubles that are all pretty difficult in their own ways. Let's see if he gets them here. He got the first one, very nice. Oh, but he gets dragged a little bit. That can happen sometimes. And he misses the second one, getting smacked. by this guy. Hephlex coming up on the doubles. Hephlex getting the first one. Fillie getting the third one. Hephlex getting the second one. Hephlex getting the third one. All three. Very nicely done by Hephlex there. Putting him a little bit closer to Fillie. And there's a ghost right here that can randomly show their heart 10 seconds early. And Fillie did not get this. So let's see if Hephlex gets it. And Hephlex doesn't get it either. If Hephlex had got it, they'd basically be tied. So early release right there, which is what that's called, is when you lose 10 seconds or you gain 10 seconds, depending on if you get it or not. If you do get it, you save about 10 seconds over not getting it. So you obviously want to get it, but it's completely luck. And there's not a manipulation that we have currently, so it's kind of dumb. It definitely makes a lot of people not happy. But it's RNG, you can't do anything about it, so you just gotta take the time loss. And you can actually go in the top left and suck the poster up through the wall. And Fillie got it there, so did Hephlex. And it saves a little bit of time, that's why they do it. They just do it to kill time between ghost cycles, really.
I'm playing so fucking bad, I'm gonna fucking off myself.
And then Hephlex releasing the boos and Fillie as well. Boos are like the main RNG segment in this game. They basically are gonna hide in random objects. And depending on what object they hide in, will determine how much time you lose. The odds are actually different for each object. Some of them are more likely than others, and some objects lose more time than others.
I'm committing. I'm done. This is the end of my career.
So yeah, the objects can lose you a very low amount of time. This first room right here actually has an object that if it's in the object, you lose like 8 seconds because of a tech skip. It's really stupid. But having an 8-second time loss to RNG right after a 10-second one definitely is not very fun when you can just lose 18 seconds and do nothing about it in the first, like, 11 minutes of the game. So Fillie is not getting the tech skip. If Hephlex gets it, he'll be saving some time. The lump under the cloth actually will signify if there is maybe something under there. It could be the boot or the decoy. But if there is no lump under there, you'll guaranteed have tech skip. And if there is a lump under there, it's 66% chance that you have it, 34 that you don't. And Hephlex now ahead of Fillie because of that boo. Fillie having a hard time with him. This room actually, you can read basically where most of the objects are that has the boo very quickly. Fillie messing up that read, sadly. Hephlex having a good read, though. And middle wardrobe for Fillie. Hephlex getting the mirror. And Fillie's scanning the mirror, not too far off of him. Earlier in the game, they actually walked back, and that's because they were going to Neville. But it's actually faster than mirror warp when you're going to the storage room here. And this boo can actually be sometimes pretty annoying because it can basically be in every one of those boxes. And if you and the decoy and the boo at the same time, the decoy can get prioritized, and you think you didn't find the boo, but you actually did. So you have to research objects that you already thought you searched, and it's just a mess. And this room also is very annoying when the boo is in the painting like that. So Fillie's saving some time there because of that. That painting loses a lot of time. But if you read it well, you can still go fast despite that. And now they're going to the washroom, which is the reason why they got all these boos. For some reason, Toad won't let you in unless you have 5 boos. And there's a key in here that we need to go to the mirror room, which gives us fire, which we use to proceed on in the game. It is actually a little bit faster to vacuum that toilet, just barely faster. So you're gonna see them do that. And they're mirror warping as well, because it's another time where mirror warping just saves a little bit of time versus walking. So this is the mirror room. The ghosts are actually invisible. The only way you can see them if you look in the back of the mirror, but as speedrunners, we know where they spawn, so it doesn't really affect us very much. But to somebody who hasn't played this very much, you might have to look in the mirrors. As a kid, everybody probably used the mirrors. Or use the mirror as a visual indicator. But fun fact, you actually cannot mirror warp from this room. This is like the only mirror in the game that you can't mirror warp from, and it's like the biggest one in the game in the mirror room. So it's just kind of ironic how that's the one that you can't do it from. So this actually, in this game, every time, you might know that every time after you get a boo, EGAT actually calls you and asks, do you want to save your game? This actually has some useful properties, as we can stack it with cutscenes and skip some of them, in this case, or use it for quick transportation. Because every time you save and reload, you'll actually go back to the foyer. So here we use it to skip the text from the medallion. And because the next ghost we're getting, which is Shivers the Butler, you might remember he's walking around the hallway. He actually is on a cycle that's universal, and by reloading the game, we'll actually reload a cycle, and that way it will always be in a good spot. Assuming you have a good clairvoyant candles here, which it looks like they're not going to have that bad of a candles. So yeah, Phillie's ahead now, pulled ahead because of that mirror room boo. hephlex had a little bit of difficulty finding that boo. That boo can be very hard because the right side has 4 objects very close to each other, so it's not really uncommon that that boo gets messed up. But Fillie having a little bit slower butler cycle than hephlex, so he'll be losing time there for sure. Looks like they're almost even now, actually, because of that butler cycle. I'm not sure if hephlex is ahead though. It's very, very close. It really depends on how fast of a butler cycle they have. So because you have to wait for the butler to sit down, you can actually clear this room without incurring any time loss. Which is useful because this room has a boo that only has like 50 health, and that's pretty friggin' easy to get. And let's see if they get this cutscene skip. And they both got it. So if you get the hat and spawn the chest at the same time, you'll actually stack the cutscenes, and you'll basically skip one of them, which is the chest one, which is a little bit faster. Yeah, now they're very, very close because of how much better hephlex butler cycle was. And this thing looks like hephlex has a boo directly to the right, but he didn't see that, and looks like he thought he missed a mouse hole. That is actually a very easy thing to mess up, is that mouse hole there. Because the hitbox in the middle of it, there's a dead zone, and hephlex getting the god read. He had he already knew that the boo wasn't in the bottom right. He had some magical power that nobody else has but him. The hephlex boo reads. So this room is actually an optional room, but it's actually there's actually a boo that that actually is optional to get in the route. That's a little bit slower, but clearing this entire room and getting the boo is actually faster than getting that one boo because of how much health it has. It's pretty crazy how fast this room can be cleared. And Fillie having some trouble with this boo. This boo can be very hard because of the way the room is. It's very small and there's a lot of objects in the way. And on the Japanese version specifically, if you drag a boo into the mouse hole like that, you'll actually skip its text. If you try that on the US or European version of the game, you actually won't be able to get that text skip. And there's actually a text skip you can do in that room right there as well with the cloth, but it's pretty difficult, so you don't really see many people get it. And now they're coming up with Melody. This Portrait Ghost will play a random song, either Super Mario Bros. 3 Athletic or Super Mario Bros. 1 Underwater. And SMB 1 Underwater is a little bit faster because you have one less text box than SMB 3 Athletic, and you don't have to scroll down, you can just mash the A button, so it's also a little bit nicer. So generally people prefer to get SMB 1 Underwater, but it's not that much of a difference. And we won't be able to see what Fillie gets until the options come up. Even if you can't read, the options will actually differ depending on which one you get. If you get SMB 3, The very bottom one is will have the number 3 in it. And SMB1 there won't be any numbers at all. So hephlex getting SMB3, Fillie also getting SMB3 athletic. So neither of them losing any time to each other. And they need to suck up those sheets. You can either vacuum them or fire them, and it depends. Sometimes people vacuum and then fire. Sometimes people fire and then vacuum. It really depends on the spread that you get. It isn't really random, but it's pretty hard to control. So Fillie having some pretty bad RNG with that worst spot, and Fillie or hephlex having best RNG, saving him quite a bit of time, making the race a lot closer. So now we get to see the difference here and there. So Fillie, you're going to notice that every time they go to a dark room from a lit room, they use an element, and that just speeds up your walking, because instead of stopping to pull out the vacuum, Luigi just sprays the element and keeps moving fast, which saves a little bit of time every time you do it. And because of how often you do it, it saves a lot of time throughout the whole course of the run. So this is the kitchen. This is where you get the water element. It is possible to skip the text here, but you'd have to walk all the way back here, and it's really, really slow. So it's actually slower to skip that. So you're going to notice here that there's a water that they put on the door, because the door actually has a fire on it, and you need to put that out with fire, and you need to wait for it. So they can actually overlap the time getting the boo with putting out the door, and hephlex having a pretty rough boo here. Not very nice to hephlex. He didn't read that the best, but he the boo was also pretty mean. So this boo can be very hard to read, so no shame on that. So yeah, this is spooky. You actually get grabbed by him the 3rd time because for some reason it makes Mr. Bones, which is I guess Spooky's owner, or the neighbor. I don't know exactly what he is canonically, but he's a skeleton guy that yells at Spooky for being loud, and he'll spawn earlier if you get grabbed by him. So they do that. And now this is the graveyard on Fillie. That's a double you can get if you take that. He tried to take it very wide, which was, he almost got it. That's very impressive that he was that close to getting it. Very well done by Fillie. But he didn't quite get it. Those skeletons move pretty weird. Sometimes they can move really close, really quick, or sometimes they take a very long time. As you've seen by hephlex, he took it a little bit safer, and he got rewarded by getting the double. Had he missed that, he would have definitely lost a lot of time to Fillie. So now this is Bogmire. This is the first boss ghost you can one cycle. It's pretty hard to one cycle him, especially for new runners. But as you get better, it becomes a lot easier. But even high level runners still sometimes occasionally drop him. So it's nothing too crazy if it doesn't happen. So let's see here. If Fillie gets the one cycle, and then we get to see hephlex. His pull is very strong, and yeah. So the arena's also he can also drag you all over the place, which makes it very hard. So he did sadly drop it. Let's see if hephlex gets it and saves some time. hephlex already off to a really good start. Great one cycle by hephlex. That was amazing, beautiful. That's about as good as you can get with that one cycle. The stream only paused for about a second, and in that second, he got over half of Bogmire's health down, so that was an incredibly good cycle. So that closed the gap. Fillie's ahead by a little bit, but it definitely closed the gap. So this is another one of those long portrification cutscenes I talked about. This is the second one. There's only one more left in this run. There's one after you beat the game, but that's not part of the run, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah. This is just an auto because a cutscene, which this game has a decent amount of, but there's also a lot of gameplay in the game, so makes it fun. So now they're coming up on Area 3. This is my personal favorite area. A lot of people don't like this area because it's very difficult. I like it. This is a personal thing. It's honestly my favorite area, but many people don't like it, and I can understand why. It's very hard, like I said. And the boss is so bad. Because he's just really, really annoying to deal with. But yeah, this is a very close race. It's very, very interesting. So you always love to see races this close together. And they're gonna grab water here for the tea room. Because the tea room has another fire door similar to the boneyard. So they have to put that out, and if they don't have water, then they have to go back and get some, which loses a lot of time. So you need to pray that you don't run out of water. So yeah, this wall ghost is actually has 0 health, funnily enough, so just pressing the R button on him or hitting him with element will kill him immediately. It's one of only, I believe, 2 instances of that ghost that you have to defeat. You see some in hallways, but you don't have to actually defeat them. Same with this courtyard. They actually have a bunch in here, but you don't have to clear it in any category but max %. Now, there's actually an optional key they get in this room from this treadmill. It just saves some time from walking all over the place. So here you're going to see Fillie shooting the water ball through the ceiling. And that's actually going to put out this door from below, which saves a little bit of time from having to wait for it. Let's see if hephlex gets it here. He got it. You can tell by the sound cue the game plays. And here you see Fillie setting up a tech skip, but he's having a little bit of a rough time dealing with this guy. Hephlex opted not to go for it because it's pretty difficult. It doesn't save that much time. Hephlex is also having some trouble. And saving some time with that ghost. But if Fillie gets a tech skip, he'll save some time back. Hephlex getting the boo before the medallion because it's a little bit faster to do. Because if the boo, it basically prevents the boo from being really crummy. So yeah, he's still a little bit behind, primarily because of tech skip and because of his past mistakes he's made. And yeah, like I said, ghosts spawn in the hallways, so the players are going to do some weird-looking movement with the flashlight to prevent them from spawning the ghosts. Or they're just going to hold out the element that also works in this hallways for some reason. And now they're actually going to do Petunia first. This actually does matter. If you get Petunia first, for some reason in this game, the pearls are actually linked between the ghosts. This also applies to Nana and Neville, or Neville and Lydia. So if you get no Petunia pearls at all, then Nana will only spawn her 4 small pearls, which will make the boo a lot easier. So you want to get Petunia first because you'll have less pearls to deal with. Although this boo can also sometimes switch, so if you have like a really bad tea room, it's sometimes worth doing Nana first to prevent the boo from switching on you in a really bad way. And hephlex having some trouble here with the yarn balls. These yarn balls are deceptively annoying. I think something most people that play this game can agree with is that these balls are really dumb. As you can see, he's just getting destroyed by them because they're really stupid. And hephlex opting to check left side first. That's usually not what you want to do, but sometimes Nana drags you over there and there's not much you can do. And he's going to get the key, and then he's going to try to get the boo. This boo is probably one of the hardest boos to one cycle in the game. Because of the pearls, and if the boo heads south, he can just leave really quickly. And, of course, hephlex making light work of him because he's a pro. Now, these are Astral Hall. These doubles are actually kind of annoying sometimes when they the gold ghosts don't cooperate. And then there's a triple here that you can do. It's a little bit faster than the double, and it's pretty easy. And of course, Fillie making it look easy. He's a professional. He's done this plenty of times. And Fillie getting a pretty good boo luck here. hephlex opting to burn that ghost. Probably makes it a little bit easier. I respect it. hephlex getting the fast scare skip. Which, if you didn't know, if you go into the Game Boy, the ghosts actually can't scare you when they spawn, so you can use that to your advantage. hephlex. Scuffing up the triple a little bit. That could happen. That's pretty easy. That's a very easy thing to mess up, so no surprise there. Well, I should say no surprise, but not a very uncommon thing to mess up. And then this is Astral Hall Boo, another Boo that can be very easily lost because of how small the room is, and the fact he has 100 health. Now, you saw Fillie shoot the moon earlier. This is a very, very deceptively hard angle to hit. It doesn't exactly work as you would expect it to, but there is a visual cue with Luigi's bicep and the left side of the vacuum nozzle. And if you line them up to make a V shape, you will hit the moon with 100% consistency. There is no RNG here. So let's see if hephlex hits it. Yep. Easy. So now Fillie is going to the projection room. This is another room where there's an invisible ghost that you can't see unless you look in the background, which in this case is a projector screen. This time it's a lot harder to see them though because the projector screen only shows their shadow. So it's pretty hard to determine exactly where they are in the room. But as speedrunners, we know exactly where the ghosts will spawn because every single ghost spawn in this game is the exact same. When you're a kid, it might feel like they just spawn in random spots, but they actually do spawn in the exact same spot regardless of what you do. So, yeah, they're going to use that and just know where the ghosts spawn. I should also mention that if you despawn a ghost and they respawn, that will actually be random where they respawn at. That's what's random about the ghost spawn, is if they respawn. But if you play the game, if you do all the good strats, then that will never be an issue because the ghost should never despawn. There's one strat where the ghost does despawn on purpose, but I don't know if these runners go for it or not. It's not really any slower, but it just is not preferred by many people. So there's actually a save warp. This is the second save warp you'll see where you save and reload the game. It's a little bit faster than doing a mirror warp here. And Fillie's not going to get it, though, because he got the glove beforehand. Actually, I think he will save warp anyway. It is a little bit slower if he does it like this, but I know he doesn't like mirror warping from the billiards room, so I can't help but respect that. And hephlex getting grabbed by that guy. That guy can be really annoying sometimes. So yeah, the reason why it's faster is because normally you have to leave this room and go into the next room and mirror warp, which is just overall slower. So it's actually possible to get fire in this room, which is what you see him do. It loses very little time. And hephlex looks like he's intentionally going for billiards mirror warp, which makes sense because the Boo RNG wasn't exactly the best, and I don't know how much hephlex has practiced this trick. It's still slower, but ooh, Fillie getting hit by a poison mushroom there. That loses about 10 seconds if you get hit by one, so you really don't want to get hit by one if you can help it. The only thing you can do when you get poisoned is shine your flashlight and call for Mario, so not really much you can do but spam them. I guess that's what most people do when they get poison mushroomed. And these twins are actually RNG. When you're a kid, you probably just randomly search the boxes until you got lucky. But if you read the books in the Neville's room, which is a study, the books tell you something like the twins fear the elements or something, like they shake from the elements. And that I guess that means that, hey, you use the elements on the box, and because they're afraid of them, they get nervous, so they shake. And that will show you which one has one. It's a really dumb hint, but it's very useful nevertheless. So it is actually possible to get a double with these guys. but it's pretty difficult to do. So only really top level runners go for it. And this brew is also very, very difficult because it's very easy for him to just leave almost immediately, and when you have to deal with the pearls as well, it's pretty much a nightmare sometimes. But luckily, this brew leaving costs almost no time because both ways he can go up. If he goes up, you'll just get him in this hallway, and if he goes left, you'll just get him in the nursery. So, not really that big of a deal. Fillie going for the famed Saria knock here. You can actually knock that painting if the boo is in there, and he got it, so pretty cool strat. And then hephlex having some trouble with these twins. These twins can be very, very pesky. So, not really too uncommon to mess them up because that guy is dropping bombs while you're trying to get the other guy, and then the other guy's riding around trying to de-seat you and make you fall over, and it's just not fun. So let's see if hephlex gets to one cycle here. Fillie also getting a tech skip there. One thing I should mention is that you might notice that after you get these boos, EGAD will actually sometimes just not shut up after getting them. He'll just go on and on and on. Or sometimes he'll just say like something really quickly. That's because the boos are actually completely luck. The text they give you not only is your location luck, but the text they give you is also luck, and they can vary by a few seconds, which is not very fun. hephlex not doing the Saria knock, but he gets the RNG anyway, so both players having the same boost spot in this room. So let's see if hephlex get the tech skip here. Fillie on Clairvoyant, this is just about a minute and a half of tech smashing. If you're on the English version, you lose about 10 more seconds, which is obviously not fun. So this is obviously one of the most hated spots in the game. And he got tech skip beautiful, making it look easy. Both these players very good, and missing the mirror. That mirror warp is actually deceptively hard to do. So now both players are just mashing the buttons as fast as they can. Fillie a decent amount ahead of hephlex, but Area 4 is so hard, so honestly, it still can be anybody's game or Bulosis as well. Bulosis could easily lose Fillie 30 plus seconds if he's not nice or cooperative, or if Fillie messes up. So let's see if that happens. Looks like Fillie's almost done with Clairvoyant here. Throughout the game, you've been getting these Mario items. You got a hat in the laundry room, a letter in the courtyard, a star from the observatory, a glove in the projection room, and a shoe in the twins' room. And you need to get all those to talk to her. And then she'll give you the key to Safari Room, which is the room that has the key to Bulosis. So it kind of did a lot of stuff just trying to get up to this point. If we could somehow get this key early, we could save quite a bit of time. But sadly, that's currently not possible. So, Fillie having a good boost spot here. There's really one spot that's not good in this room, and that's top right. He's not there too often, but the top right and the top left are the most common, and then the middle are the least common, so... And also that boo can leave pretty easily sometimes if the pearls get in the way, or he just decides to head right immediately. So now, the Safari Room actually has water ghosts, which you need to use ice on. It's the only time you see them in this category. So he gets ice from this room to get it, because it's the most convenient spot. hephlex having a very unfortunate boost switch. Sadly, him going to worst RNG from best RNG. Or not, I guess technically not best RNG, but from really, really good to really, really bad. And you're gonna see, when they spawn an elemental ghost, normally when you ice them, you might realize that they stop for a second so their heart, I guess, can become vulnerable. But if you do that as they're spawning, it will actually skip that animation and save a little bit of time. So this is the strat I was talking about. If you're gonna notice that the guy on the right will actually despawn for Fillie. It doesn't really lose time, but if you have if you hold the vacuum out when you're setting up the double, you'll actually not spawn that guy, and he'll always be in the same spot, which is usually preferred by many runners. So yeah, that's really the only time in this run that you'll see, unless they make a mistake, the ghost despawn. So yeah, now they're going to Bulossus, which is an infamously hard boss. Because he's just really annoying to deal with sometimes. You're gonna see he switches to sidestep. It is a little bit slow to do that, but runners also hephlex not doing the vacuum. Ooh, very nice double by hephlex. That was actually a very wide double. For many people, sidestep blackout is easier because you can kind of just be lazy and not touch the C stick at all. But it loses a little bit of time, so not many people like to do it. So it's not a very common strat to do it without pausing. But it is faster, so some people do it. I don't think either of these runners will because it's like a really high level strat and it's not really necessary because it only loses like half a second at worst. So let's see how this Bulossus goes. Fillie having an amazing Bulossus. You'd love to see that. Now let's see if hephlex has a good Bulossus while Fillie enters the third Portrification Eyes cutscene of this run. So in this game, you need 40 boos to beat the game. You actually need 20 boos to get to Bulossus. If you don't have 20 boos, a boo will send you back to the foyer, and it will be a big time loss. But we get 21, and you need 40 to beat the game. In the PAL version, you actually need 45 on the Hidden Mansion, which the PAL version is basically a completely different game. It's like a ROM hack almost. And hephlex having a rough, really, really rough Bulossus. You hate to see it. So this is going to be a 2-cycle. This is really mean when he does this. His angle was a little bit off, but he's backing it up pretty well actually. Look at that. It's very, very hard to get a 3-cycle from that phase actually. That phase is really hard to deal with, but he's luckily dealing with it very well, and now he's on to the easier phase to deal with, which is when there's a small, because it'll actually charge you. So now you're gonna see him baiting out a charge. Ooh, the double. Almost got triple there. So the Bulossus actually gives 15 boos that you need to beat the game. So yeah, he's really important. He gives you 15 boos, and you kind of need his key to progress. So now we're coming to the blackout. This part always scared a lot of people when they were kids because it was just like there was no power in the room, all the rooms were dark, and there was a lot of ghosts. It's very scary, and it's also kind of hard to figure out where you're supposed to go. The game does give you a hint. It's like, go to a room with a mirror, and that's where you need to go, and there's like a bunch of those up to this point, so another pretty terrible hint. It's honestly one of the last rooms you'd expect is the wardrobe room. So that's where they're headed, though. If you know where to go, this is a pretty short segment. So let's see how this Grimly is. The Portrait Ghost in the Wardrobe Room, which is Grimly, which is like the boss of the Blackout, is actually completely random how long it takes. It's like the Woodland does, but to a much worse extent because he can lose 0 seconds to 50 seconds, basically. And he got Instant Grim, which is the fastest possible. So yeah, that's very fast. It's pretty annoying when he's very long. The current longest confirmed Grimly is 48 seconds. And that was the fastest Grimly you get, which is him just showing his heart as you're entering the room. So if hephlex doesn't get that, he's going to be losing time. And now there is a boo in this room that you can one cycle, but it's extremely hard, and honestly, I think objectively the hardest room in the game, or boo in the game, because he has 200 health, which is the most that you can get with a one cycle. And if you don't one cycle him, you can lose a lot of time. So I think he's going to be skipping over him, because it's just not something you want to do when you're this far ahead and lose like 30 seconds. There was a double you can do in this room though, but it looks like Fillie is not opting to do that because it is pretty difficult and it's nice to play safe when you're this far ahead of your opponent. Although there's still always a chance that hephlex does something amazing in Area 4 and Fillie really messes up because there's still a lot left of the run. So this boo is also very annoying because of all the objects, and the room also lags a little bit. Fillie making easy work of him though. He's obviously a god at that boo. Let's see hephlex Grimly here. Ooh, not instant. He's losing time there. You hate to see it. I'm not counting this, but this is pretty long. So yeah, that really, really hurt. You really hate to see when somebody's this far behind to lose a lot of time to Grimly like that. Because anything over, like, I believe it's 10 seconds is extraordinarily rare. That mirror being really dumb there. So now they're going up to the Toy Soldier, or Phillie's going up to Toy Soldiers, hephlex is going down to Breaker Room. I doubt he's going to go for Breaker Boo. But he might pull out the stops and go for Breaker Boo. So Fillie now doing Toy Soldiers. These are some of the hardest ghosts in the game because their pull is pretty strong and their effective degree, which in this game, ghosts have all have a unique amount of area you can pull away. It's hard to explain. But imagine the ghosts have a circle around them, and if you're not within a certain degree of the circle, opposite of where they're going, you won't deal damage. And for these guys, it's pretty small, so they're very hard. And you can actually double them, but that's another hard strat that only like high-level runners go for. And I don't think either of these players will be, but who knows? hephlex going for the stops here. I don't think hephlex getting the one cycle though. Yeah. Sadly. But if he goes back in the Breaker Room, that will not be that bad. hephlex having some trouble. That barrel is deceptively really stupid. These ghosts are really annoying, honestly. I really don't like the seller. And Fillie going for the Boston Burn. And he bonks. That is the worst thing that could ever happen. That's honestly really, really brutal. That lost him a lot of time. Fillie having a pretty rough rooftop here. And he does not, the game does not want to be nice to him. Losing a lot of his lead to that. So yeah, they're getting the rooftop key here. This leads to the armory room, which is honestly one of the hardest rooms in the game. The armory has a lot of object spam in it, so there's actually a lot of lag. Also, that's a stumble skip by Fillie. So yeah, this armory room has a lot of object spam in it, and it likes to lag the game like crazy. Which, if you combine that with the fact that the Boo has 150 health, making him basically almost like a perfect cycle is needed. Or else you just won't get the one cycle. Also combine that with a hard triple, and it's just a nightmare to deal with. So let's see if Fillie gets a triple here. Good setup. And he got a double actually because he burned the grabber an extra time. But you know what? That lost almost no time. Hephlex coming up on Toy Soldier doubles. Let's see if he goes for the elusive double. I don't think he is because this isn't like a double setup, but he might be. And that Boo is really not nice. He could just one tiny mistake like that and he's gone. It's really unfortunate when that happens. The lag also just makes it even worse. But luckily, that Boo can go right, or up, right, and you lose like 40 seconds or something crazy. It's really, really painful when that Boo goes to the telephone room and then to the Clockworks room. Because that loses like a solid 40 seconds. Hephlex saving a lot of time on that rooftop there compared to Fillie. So, they're going to Weston. Well, they're going to Pipe Room, actually. This room is one of the few rooms that you enter in this category and don't, like, you get a key and then you leave. I believe it's the only chest in the game that has a key that you don't get from clearing a room. I believe every other chest key you get from clearing a room. This one is just already there. So now they're going to Weston, or Phillie's going to Weston. Hephlex is in the armory. Looks like he's actually having a pretty decent armory. Oh, that's not nice. That happens sometimes. That's very rough. But he backed it up very, very well, actually. Insanely good backup by Hephlex. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have backed it up that well. Weston's very hard because his pull is actually pretty weak, but he is on ice, and imagine playing tug of war with somebody on ice, but they're floating above the ground. It would be very, very difficult to win. So that's what makes him hard, but Fillie making light work of him. He's done this hundreds of times. Hephlex one select on the Boo, saving him some time back. And this Boo is also very hard because not only do you have to deal with ice, but he also has 150 health. And Fillie not having a very good Boo spot. Fillie one select on that Boo, making light work. And now we're heading up to Vangor. This is the ghost that whenever E-Guide calls you and just spams you with text, he's the guy that he's talking about when he just spams you, so you'll get to see him. He basically is the reason why all the ghosts exist, and he's pretty annoying. Especially when E-Guide tells you about him after you've already defeated him. The classic Vangor text after Vangor. And he's basically a compilation of triples. followed by Vangor himself, which is not really any threat because he kind of just sits there spinning his arms around until you get him. But this is one of the harder parts of the game. So let's see here. Fillie almost going the wrong way there. That's one thing about this game is that you go through a decent amount of rooms quite a few times. Like you go through that safari room like 4 or 5 times, so it can be pretty easy to just forget where you're going sometimes. So hephlex looks like he's gonna get the breaker boo. He actually mirror warped from the armory room, and Fillie saved warp. That was Steve warped from the mirror room and armory room and western room. I forgot to mention that. They did that because it's faster, but hephlex didn't because the boo. Every time you save warp in this game, the boo actually will reset their health. So it's really bad if that happens because the boo will just go back to like 150 health or 200 health for breaker boo. So it's actually faster for hephlex to mirror warp from armory, which he did. And Fillie having some pretty decent triples right now. These triples are deceptively hard. Especially that grabber one. That one can be pretty nightmarish. Hephlex getting the easy one cycle in Weston. Very, very, very good one cycle by Hephlex. And Fillie now on the final ghosts. And Hephlex, the boo being very mean, him actually not getting the pearls near the campfire, which is a very good strat. And that was a very good one cycle. He backed it up amazing. Very, very good at a demonstration of his skill. So, this boo right here is the only boo in the game that you cannot one cycle with current knowledge. You can one cycle every other boo, including King Boo, which was only found recently. So yeah, Breaker Boo is what you normally get because you can one cycle him, but this guy you can save warp on, and that's like a few seconds faster than walking and mirror warping from Safari Rim. So now they're going. Fillie is going to King Boo, the final boss of the game. If you decide to go for one cycle, it's probably the hardest thing in the game. Honestly, I think King Boo is like the hardest thing that you can reasonably go for every run, and it's the last like 30 seconds. So having the hardest thing in the game, the last 30 seconds, is just really, really, really nerve-wracking, honestly, if you're on world record pace. So, I don't know if Fillie or Hephlex will go for one cycle. I doubt Hephlex will. I don't think I've ever seen Hephlex do it. I have seen Fillie do it. He actually got it earlier today, so he might go for it. What's scary about King Boo is if you hit his head too early with the bomb, you'll actually soft lock and have to reset. You can also touch his crown. If you touch his crown too early, you'll do something called crown theft, and it will actually play out the ending sequence, but you won't get credits and your run won't be valid. So let's see how this plays out. Even if something like that does happen to Fillie, whether he gets crown theft or soft locks, he's far enough ahead of Hephlex that it won't lose him the race. Fillie reset his timer on accident, but he's still in the race. So let's see how this plays out. Assuming he doesn't soft lock. So yeah, I guess I'll just use hephlex timer as a indication of where Fillie is. Fillie getting a very nice quick shot. And him not getting the one cycle, sadly. Ooh. He blew it up on Bowser. He aimed a tiny bit too low. Instead of hitting him in the head, he hit him in the chest, so it didn't work out. Fillie, I have no idea what Fillie is doing. I can't tell if he's VMing or if he's trying to do some manipulation that I don't know about. Fillie once again hitting him in the chest. Alright, it looks like he was just having a bad time on that last cycle. Oh, getting him as low as he can. So assuming Fillie doesn't mess up too badly here, he should win the race. I hope he doesn't throw, but I have no idea. I doubt he's going to throw. And he overshot that. That was actually a really good attempt. Normally, that doesn't... Like, normally you don't go for that, but he almost made it work, which would be very impressive. And Fillie still deciding to BM with that 1 health King Boo. And I think it's over. And 101.16. GG to Fillie, and now hephlex on the second cycle here. Ooh, 256, that's pretty good. Fillie showing us that the person that was playing this whole time was actually Luigi himself. Luigi is the one that was playing, so I guess Luigi does not have much respect for himself, and he would purposely damage himself in game. hephlex getting an amazing 2-cycle, 102.07. You'll love to see it. GG to both runners. So yeah, I guess Luigi actually won that race. I'm not sure if we're gonna have an interview. Seems like Fillie has left and hephlex, I think, has to go somewhere, but I could be wrong. We're also running a little late, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure if that's gonna happen. Maybe we'll see a interview. Because the bot should have invited both the players to the Discord. Alright, I think Fillie. Yo, what's up, Fillie?
What's going on, man?
Well, that was a very interesting match.
You know?
What were you doing at the end there?
Oh, I was just I was practicing the one cycle. I was using my IL spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, yeah, it was close. Hephlex actually played super good. I played really bad, and I apologize. I didn't realize that my mic would get picked up. Honestly, thought I had it muted. So apologies on whatever happened way in the past. Regardless,
Yeah, I mean,
I played mediocre to bad.
Hephlex was not playing that bad, but eventually.
No, he didn't. Hephlex played good, bro.
Area 3, Area 4, he did definitely mess up a lot.
Hephlex was playing like he was ahead of me up until like what, Bog?
I think he was ahead of you. I don't know exactly where he stopped being ahead of you. I think it was fire split. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he played good. I played like depressingly bad, but it was a good time regardless. You know,
it was a very fun match because most for like about the middle part of it, it was very close. You guys were like within 5 seconds of each other.
I was doing a lot of I went for the Boston Burn, obviously. If anybody's wondering about that rooftop, I went for Boston Burn. Okay, so that's what happened there. And then I missed it. Yeah, I lost like 45 seconds. I missed it, and I said, all right, I'm gonna go for it again, just because. And that didn't work out. And then what else happened? Anybody see that Cellar Boom? That was insane. I clutched that. I was like 8 double cackles. Oh my god.
You handled that very, very well.
Yeah, I was proud of that. Besides that, yeah, no BM at the end there. I was just having fun. I knew I won, so I figured I might as well like have a little bit of fun with it.
Okay,
But yeah, that was scuffed as hell. That was like an awful, awful race. I won't do that versus Glitch in the next round. I'll actually like play the game. But love Hephlex. He's a homie.
Yeah, you guys seem to be cool with each other.
I watch his golf streams. Follow Hephlex. He plays golf. He's like top 5 in the world. So
top 5.
He's actually insane at Mario Golf.
Is there anything else you want to say about that run?
Boys, can I get a Fillie Pog in the chat? Just a couple Yosh Pogs. Yeah, thank you. I'll be waiting. Besides that, what did you think? Anything good?
I mean, it was that solo boo was definitely pretty cool. It was close for a decent amount of it. He lost a lot of time on Boolossus.
Yeah, you see, oh my Boolossus. That was, what was that, one shot pretty much? And then I sniped the last one?
Did you see his Boolossus?
I saw him 2 cycling at some point.
Nah, he was 3 cycled.
Jesus.
His first cycle, he only got like 4 of them, but his second cycle, he got like 7 or 8.
Yeah, that's rough.
So he lost like probably close to 40-50 seconds there. It was pretty brutal.
You know what? We take those. That's all we gotta say. We take those, boys. But I actually didn't play that match. That was Luigi. So
disqualified.
Yeah, that wasn't me, guys. That was you guys saw when the cam came on. It wasn't me. I was just there to make sure he was all right. He pretty good. What was that? Like a 101?
That was like a 101-16 or something.
Yeah, Luigi got a 101. I would have, if I went for a 2 cycle and got it, I would have sub 1'd anyways. But like I said, I just didn't care.
You would have probably gotten the sub hour.
It would have been like a 59-40 or so. But yeah.
I actually don't know if anybody's gotten sub hour in this tournament yet.
I was gonna go for it. I wanted it, but I just, like I said, once I realized, I typed in the chat, I'm like, 1 cycle anybody? Pablo's popping off for a 1 cycle, so I'm like, all right, I gotta do this. I'm like, I gotta support my mans, and then I choke it, so then I try it again, and then I just, you guys saw the rest. You guys saw the rest. Besides that, I can openly say that was the best race of the entire tournament so far. Just saying. No one even compares to. Nah, no one compares to this. There's no fighting this, guys. This isn't Resident Sleeper. This is Yoshipog. This is what that was.
I don't know, man. Yeah. That Owen yogurt percent was pretty cool.
That was pretty good. I don't have yogurt, and I also don't like yogurt, so I figured I have my own gimmick. Sorry, we racing tonight?
I don't know.
Pull up. $500 money match on SpeedGaming too.
Live on SpeedGaming.
Yeah, SpeedGaming. I want to race Saria right now. Get off your schedule. We had to wait. Now the next people have to wait. What's our window? We got another 5 hours.
Anyway, if that's all you have to say, I think that'll do it.
All right, guys. Peace
Thanks for
out.
racing, and it was fun commentating your very interesting match.
Thanks,
And
bro.
I'm excited to see more from you guys.